Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have the 90mm EDF Viper from FMS, and we're going to be unboxing it. I'm going to give you my first impressions of it. We're going to do a super quick assembly, set up a gyro in it, and then we're going to take it flying. Let's go. Okay, so let's start off by having a look at what's in the box. As per normal, try and open the box. Sometimes these things just don't want to come out. Okay, so box, finally out of the box rather. And then we have wing panel. Quite a nice scheme this, blue and orange. Viper graphics. Looks nicely tucked away inside. Obviously servos pre-installed, pretty typical from FS to not have the rods installed though. They will be in the box. The flaps as well, and of course retracts. Let's get one of those panels out. It always makes me laugh how small the wings are on these EDF models. But let me give you a close-up of that. Oh, looks to be a little bit of damage on the tip there. We'll check that out in a minute. There we go, Viper. Kind of is what you expect from FMS. Nice foam quality, pre-sprayed. That's a graphic over the top there. Servos pre-installed, as I already said. And of course the electronic retract there as well. It'll be interesting to see how stiff these are. because I know on my Avanti they're very stiff and I'm about to take the oil out. So let's check this one out too. Different connector there. It's on the Avanti. If I'm going to compare it, you've got a single socket. And on here, I don't know if you can see that, it's a little bit dark, isn't it, in the workshop. You've got what looks like 3 servo connectors just coming out here. There we go. Okay, and then on the wingtip, it looks like we've lost something here. I'm not too sure. There might be something that goes on the end. Oh, there might be something that plugs in. We'll have a look in a minute. Let's carry on unboxing. 2 wings, always good to have a pair, fly much better. That looks the same. Wingtip does look like something else goes on the end. Of course, you've got the end plates that go on. That's what's currently missing, I just remembered. Got a light in here as well, which is good, and obviously a second light here by the looks of it as well. Next out is the horizontal stabilizer. Again, 2 servos. The servos are already starting to add up. I think we've got 1 for each flap, 1 for each aileron. We've got gears as well, which is probably 2 channels or maybe 1 channel, probably 1, and then 2 more here. So that's already 7. And 2 wires there, nicely labelled. And then here's the fuselage. Always come well packaged. It's good to see. And there's the wingtips. And grumpy pilot as per normal. Nose cone. Tubes down here, which will be for the wing. Have a look at those in a minute. So let's get the fuselage out. Actually, we'll get the smaller bits out first. Yeah, it might have 2 separate tips on there. I've not actually even checked the instructions. Talking of which, here they are. I'll have a quick look through these in a minute. There's the nose cone. And let's get the fuselage out. Okay, so now it's all unboxed. Let's have a closer look. So there are the connectors I was talking about earlier on for the wing. This isn't broken. This is just where the wing tips go on, which are on the bench. I'll come on to those in just a moment for you. These FMS fins are fins that go underneath the fuselage, which you'll see. Obviously the nose cone here, which will be going on the front of the fuselage. It's pretty standard for one of these jets. There's all your linkages and indeed all your screws that you need to assemble this model. Now if you are assembling it, I guess it's going to take you about an hour or less really, because there's not much to it, it's just screws. The rudder, which you'll see there, screws and linkages, that's all it is. Wingtips to clip on, horizontal stabilizer, which you've already seen, and here's the fuselage. Nicely labelled connectors to plug in the horizontal stabilizer and the rudder, which will slot in here. You've got a light on top. There's our wing sockets there, and the matching sockets for the servos and obviously the ailerons, flaps and retracts. And of course our cockpit. So it is what you expect from FMS. You know, it's good quality. Yes, it's a foam model. Yes, you have to be a bit careful with these because they can dent, hence why I've put my mat down on my worktop again. And for those of you who don't know, I just use a yoga mat. That's a little tip there for you, just to help protect the foam models from anything that might be on your worktop, give it a soft surface. But let's pop off this canopy and have a look inside. So nice big open cockpit area there. You can see the front retract, which will be steerable. Looks like the servo's just there. Place for the battery. And they also even supply the Velcro and all the straps, which I think is a nice touch. And then you have the various leads. A lot of leads. Look at all that. But they're all labelled. So I'm sure we're going to have some fun with that as well. Now on my Avanti, there's a flight control board up here. But on this one, it doesn't look like it comes with one unless there's something tucked underneath. I'll have a look as we go through. The thing I'm going to do now is just have a very quick look at the instructions and then we'll start assembling this. Okay, instructions. I do read these from time to time. I see the slight challenge there, guys. Looks like I'm going to be doing this by the pictures. Okay, fair enough. Let's do this the hard way. Okay, I think the best thing we can do is actually start from the rear end. We'll start by putting the horizontal stabilizer, slotting the rudder on top, and just screwing it down. Now, when you're assembling these, there's only, I think, 2 sizes of screws. No, in this model, there's only 1 size of screw. So you can't really go wrong. 1 size, screw it in, and then do the linkages last. So here's a horizontal stabilizer going on. The nice thing, it's got pegs. So underneath it, there's 4 pegs. Line up the 2 screws here and 2 screws there. So all you do is screw in the rear, and then when the rudder will actually screw through here and attach the front of it as well. And the other nice thing is, I've just noticed, is that all the extension leads have got keeps on them. So when they slot in, you get these little keepers, which keep it more secure. And of course, like we've already seen, they're labelled. But do be a little bit careful with your wires. Make sure they're not getting trapped underneath, and make sure your horizontal stabilizer is sitting flush and flat, otherwise you're going to have some issues. So the screws are just little hex screws, you can just about see that. Now do be a little bit careful with these, they can have a tendency for the heads to go in them, so feel free to swap them out. They're just 10mm long, I think they're M3s, but just be a little bit careful tightening them up. Okay, so literally just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those screws, and the horizontal stabilizer and the rudder are in place. Everything just keys in nicely. You can't really go wrong with that. If the screws are lined up, it will fit on, and that's all you need to do. I've obviously not put the linkages on yet. We're going to do that last. Get the model assembled first, power it up with the receiver, and then we'll do our linkages. Right, let's move on. Next up, we're going to put these on. And they, I believe, just slide on the back here. And it looks like they just lock in and push backwards, like so. Nice sturdy click there, I like that design. Just actually pushed on, then moved backwards by about 5mm, and they're locked in. And there's a close-up for you of those. They're quick release. You could almost remove those if you've got issues with transportation, because they snap in so easily and quickly. So next up is the nose cone, and this is just a case of make sure it's the right way up, obviously, and popping it on. And it is kind of magnetic, So again, it is designed to come off for transportation, but don't worry, it won't come off during flight. So we're whizzing through this. Let's get on to the wings. So with the wings, just a case of getting the tip on. And they've got a very similar mechanism where they slide on and then move backwards to lock in place. I'm hoping for a nice click. No click, but they're definitely in place. There we go. Guys, let me know what you think of those. You like those wing tips on the Viper? I think I do. I think I like the fact we've got two lights here as well. One right on the tip, and then one here on the leading edge as well. Nice, taking shape. Let's do the other one. So I'll hold this one a little bit closer, see if you guys can see how it works. So literally just got a couple of lugs there, same as the fins on the fuselage, and they're keyed in. So it should be a case of lining up the front section and then sliding it back. And be careful you don't put too much pressure on this, because of course it is foam, so it is easy to get a fingernail in there or squeeze it too hard. Just be mindful of that. End of the day, these kind of models will get hanger rash because they're made out of foam. Okay, so that is the wings in. Okay, so next up, what I'm actually going to do, rather than putting the wings on, because that's quite straightforward to do, but make the model bigger and a bit more awkward in my small workshop, I think what we're going to do is actually do some plumbing. We're going to wire up some of this stuff and see if we can get some bits moving. Okay, so after much battling with the wires, this is how I've currently ended up, and I think it's all correct. So let me explain. We have the Futaba R7008SB receiver on one side, and of course the GYA553 Futaba Gyro on the other side. The wiring, in my opinion, in the Jet is a little bit messy. There's no control board. I mean, in the newer versions of FMS models, they put a control board in, so you have less wires going to your receiver. So that's really what's missing in this, all the lights kind of wiring as well. But everything is, having said that, everything is nicely labelled. Having said that, I've ended up with one leftover wire, which I'm yet to find out where that goes, although everything does currently work, I'll show you in a minute. And I've also ended up with this one as well. I don't think you should connect these together. I don't want to just go ahead and do that and risk anything. But with those loose and not connected, everything does work. So what I will do is go and tidy up some of this at the moment. I just don't like all this mess, but there's not really much space in the back, in fairness. But regardless, it works. So I obviously did go ahead and put the wings on and connect the rods, which I will show you in just a moment. You do get to see that. So the Jet is actually currently together, and things do work when I plug the battery in. Let me show that now. And there we go. I think you can just about see it, and I think I'm still just about in frame, but it's definitely a nice looking Jet, and I really do like the lights on it as well. So let me just give you a quick demo of things working, and I'll tell you what I've done in a bit more detail. So ailerons first. Change the camera angle for you. Right, so I think I'm just about in shot. I'm really running out of space right now. I can't get my stand out because it's got my Jet on it, and my workshop's full of models which I'm building for other people. But anyway, ailerons are working. Flaps on two-stage switch, half flap, full flap. I'll give you a close-up underneath as well. Half flap, full flap. So that's a great amount of movement there. And while we're here, just close up of those lights for you, which I think are looking pretty cool. Just support the model while I pop the gear. And there we go. Appreciate you probably can't see that very well, but it does look good. It does look good. So that's all working as well. Elevator. And of course rudder. And the EDF itself. Let's put that gear away so it's a little bit more stable. Just so I can balance it back on the bench without it falling off. We don't want that. at this stage. So for control settings, let's have a look at what we've done. For those of you who have got Futaba or indeed anything else, if we go into AFR, you'll see that I've pretty much put ailerons down to 75% movement, 40% expo, don't forget it's negative on Futaba. Go to a different channel. Elevator is probably very similar, 80-40. And then rudder is 100 and negative 35. That's a personal preference just because I like knife edge, even though this isn't my jet. I thought I'd set it up that way. And then the only other thing to remember, because we've got the gyro in there. Now I've got plenty of videos on my channel on how to configure a gyro. But if you're doing it on a model like this, something that may catch you out is when you go into linkage, function, and you assign your gyro gains, I've chosen to change them to channel 8, 9 and 10. Now if you're going to change them to a different channel number here, because the other channels are already in use on this page, you have to make sure you connect to the gyro via the cable and change the corresponding ones to 8, 9, 10. Because I think out of the box there's something like 5, 7, 8 or something like that. So that's probably what's going to catch people out if you're using this particular gyro on this particular system. And the rest of it is straightforward. And as far as the gains are concerned, go back to airplane. So it's gyro setting when you connect to the gyro via the P-board, which I've not done, but I've left the cable in there for later. But in the gyro itself, you can see that I've assigned it to the switch, and I've just gone for 20 rates and then 30 rates as well across everything, across gyro 2 and 3, which is elevator, aileron and rudder. And that should be enough for the first flight. So really, I'll probably take off for Maiden with it off completely. And then once I'm happy with everything's all trimmed out, I'll try it in low rates and make sure I don't get any flutter on any of the control surfaces. If I don't, then I'll push it up one more and see where we are from there. That's the plan anyway. Let's just give you one more close up on the model. So I think it does look nice. I'd be interested to see how well this scheme stands out in the air, because it's obviously quite dark with the blue, but nice bright lights there around the tip and on the leading edge. Obviously the one on top as well, green and red on the tips is how it should be. And then we've got the one underneath as well. Appreciate wheels are up at the moment, but it looks pretty cool. And again, those deflectors at the back, sorry, the fins at the back rather. So super easy to put together. So guys, literally super easy to put this together. Just a case of like 8 or 9 screws, put in the horizontal stabilizer, then the rudder, plugging those wires in as well. You can do all that literally in less than 10 minutes. The bit that took a bit of time was wiring in the receiver and the gyro. That's probably another 10-15 minutes for me. And then setting up the transmitter. So the whole model can be assembled in half an hour, which I think is pretty cool. That's even with the gyro configured as well. So I'm going to be using Z batteries in this, 6S 6000 packs. And I think with that, it's time to take it down the field and get it flown. Let's go. Okay guys, so we are ready for the test flight of the FMS Viper 90mm. As you saw me just assemble it just a few moments ago, pretty easy assembly. And now we're down the Field of Dreams, which is my club, and it's absolutely perfect conditions. There's no wind whatsoever. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the usual thing. I'm going to take off with a little bit of flap, go around, and I'll talk to you while I'm flying it. We'll see if we can get the model trimmed out, see how it handles. If we're feeling good about it, we'll turn the gyro on as well. So it's going to be a short flight, and then what we'll do after that, we'll fly it a bunch more times, and I'll put that in the video as well. So bear with me. Let's do this. I think it's always good on these models, just do a quick check of the wheels as well as the rest of the control surfaces. Left, right, up, down. Even the rudder works, it's always a bonus. Just familiarise yourself with flaps and switches.
Flaps half.
Oh, I've got speech as well, that's always handy. Right, okay, I'll come this side of the camera. So we've got flaps on half.
Flaps full, flaps half.
Final check. Let's send it.
Throttle active.
Turn the throttle on, always helps. Full throttle, spin back, wheels up.
Flaps full. Flaps full. Flaps full.
Okay, that confused me because there's 2 flaps fulls. Okay, so it's coming around nicely. So going back just over half throttle now. And it doesn't look like it feels like it needs any trim at all. That's hands off. Maybe 1 click of left aider on. Which I'll do is I'll go around that turn. Bring it back in a bit closer for the camera. That's completely hands off. Lovely, okay. That's flying really nice on just half throttle. See if I can get bring around a little bit more throttle and do a flyby right to left.
1 minute.
Just going to do a short flight for the Maiden. We're not going to do push the batteries. We're just going to fly around, get used to the model, check everything's okay. Let's try a flyby now. So I'm leaving the flaps off, up rather. Throttling back to about a third, slightly lower than a third. A little bit of right rudder. Lovely, look at that. Just dropped off slightly there, losing a bit of speed, but away we go. Do a full throttle climb. Let's go up over the top as well, a little bit left rudder to go over. Pulling over, throttle down. Roll rate feels nice. Let's try some rolls. Yeah, it feels nice, I like that. Kind of guessed the setup on this. I think I showed it to you guys, but we'll double check that in a minute. Let's do a big loop, power loop. Pulling up, right rudder over the top. Nice. Right, so I'm gonna get a little bit of height. I'm gonna turn the gyro on.
2 minutes.
Coming round, I'm gonna straighten up first before turning the gyro on. Towards me, Nick. Away.
Gyro normal.
Okay, so gyro normal, so that's gyro 20. So all gains set to 20. Gonna bring it back round. Make sure I haven't got any wobble. It's hands off. Feels smooth. Does feel smoother with the gyro on. It's a little bit wobbly without it, but nothing major. Super calm day today. Okay, let's try flying with the flaps down.
Flaps half.
So that's half flap. I know I'm high. So it's a little bit of ballooning with flaps is what you'd oh no, it's come out. It's come out. It's fine. That's because the gyro's on at the moment. So the gyro correcting that ballooning. So bring it down. Quarter throttle. Throttle almost completely off at the moment.
Minutes.
Very nice.
Off.
And then flaps off. Okay, so I'm happy with that. What I'm going to do is just put the gears down and come around for a landing, just a shorter flight like I've said, just so we can check the model over.
Gear down.
Once we land, there's a gear down. You feel the drag, it's in the model slow up.
Flaps full.
Flaps full. Gone out a bit too far there, but we'll bring it right round. Still got throttle about
20
half.
seconds.
Bit of right rudder.
10, 9, 8.
Oh, a bit fast
7,
there, Matt.
6.
A little bit heavy. That was just me on the landing. The landing was a bit too quick then, that was me. There's no wind today, even though I had the flaps down. I should have already slowed it up, but that's just about getting used to a new model. I'm always quite cautious on that final turn in, because obviously when you've got the flaps down and you bring the throttle down as well, it can be easier to stall. So the trick is to keep the nose pointed down. So as long as the nose is pointed down, you're always going to have airspeed. Didn't quite get that one right, but the model's down, it's in one piece. So what we do now, I'm really happy with that, you know, spot on, it flies really smooth. If I was going to compare that to the FMS Avanti, which is the one that I've recently just reviewed, I like both of them, to be honest with you. I don't know. This one's definitely got different flying characteristics. I think this one might fly a little bit slower. I'd have to fly them back to back to really find out. So what we're going to do now is going to get a bunch more flights on there. I'll throw a whole load of clips together and then we'll conclude. Okay guys, so that is the FMS Viper 90mm, and I am really impressed with it. This isn't my model, this is one of my buddies, he's been flying it as well, so some of the clips were him flying, but it's going really well, and it's just super easy to fly. So I'd really recommend one of these, check them out, I'll put a link down below in the description. If you've got any questions, please let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. And hopefully guys, I'll see you next time round. Cheers.